Hey, folks, welcome to the Leeds View podcast for the second podcast of this week. We do these twice a week, as well as daily Leeds United news, the odd match reaction, and a bit of transfer talk during the off season. We are a part of the Sports Social Podcasting Network, so you can get these on all of your audio platforms. And we are partnered with OK Jerseys for 8% off World Cup shirts for a World Cup summer. And if you want to get the new Leeds United away shirt that has launched, and we're going to talk about it tonight, you can use our Fanatics link down below to get the official shirt from the official club store via those links. I'm joined by Andrea Russo to talk about what has been a busy day for Leeds. Everyone's going to get sick of seeing my face today. We did the news, then another story broke. And you know you're in the summer, Andrea, when you start doing midday live streams out of nowhere that weren't planned. So I'm delighted to have Andrea here to have a chat with us. How are you, mate?
Good, mate. Thanks. Always a pleasure. And quite the day. Of course, I already bought the away shirt because
Did you get it?
that's yeah. It's amazing. Honestly, it's amazing. Now it will arrive, I think, in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, because in Italy, of course, there's a different time with the couriers.
Has to come by donkey, does it, across the mountains?
Yeah, it has to come, over land and sea, basically. So it always takes a while, But yeah, it's good, especially that badge. Honestly, that logo, it's good. I already had a shirt from actually the blue one though, not the yellow one from the early 90s. I always
Packer
like
Bell.
that. Yeah, not the Packer Bell actually. The one with the Yorkshire Evening Post, I think.
The YP one. Yeah.
The YP, yeah. But that logo, honestly, if they're gonna change it in the future, I think that could be a good early model, because we've seen multiple clubs change into a circular round logo, and that one can be a good start to redesign it. What about you? How was your day?
It was good. It's been all Leeds. I got up at 7:30 this morning to get the Fanatics link ready for the launch today. So that was a busy start to the day. To anybody who normally gets up at 7:30, I know. I have a handy. But I got up at 7:30, made sure that all the stuff got done. I didn't walk away from my desk till 4:00 because I was getting stuff ready and doing the social pieces. Brought the dog for a walk, came back and went straight back on to get ready for this. So it's been a busy day, but it's been a good day. The badge is interesting, by the way, because I have this thing about badges, not necessarily Leeds Rose badge, but I don't always believe football clubs need to have a joint football on their badge to tell everybody that you're a football club. So I'd like to see the rose used maybe without the football, and maybe a kind of a modern take on that rose, but still keeping it very much the rose, because I do like the rose part of it. And there is psychology, by the way, behind the circular badge. Did you know this?
No, I didn't.
So
what about it?
There was a study done, and this is gonna half upset people, might half please some people. There was a study done on basically all the football clubs in the world, and basically what came out of it was clubs with circular badges are more successful than clubs without circular badges, right? So now
change it immediately. Change it immediately.
Right now. Do it right now. But then there is more round badges in football than anything else. So it was percentage of, so that evens out the kind of the landscape a little bit. The second one was teams that wear red are more successful than teams that don't wear red. So ignore that one. Just ignore that one completely, right? Focus on the circular badge part of it. But yeah, I'm delighted to see it come back. I love this stuff. I love these retro throwbacks, and that kit this year that's come out does look a lot like the yellow Packard Bell kit that I think I was 16 or 17. I have a photograph of me somewhere wearing that kit somewhere, and I think I had Hasselbank's name on the back of it. It didn't last long after he went to Atletico, but I did have Hasselbank's name on the back of it. Or Molinar, possibly Molinar actually.
Molinar, yeah. Many Irish players back then. McPhail, Hart.
McPhail was there, Hart was there, Mabry was there. Yeah. I think Nicky Byrne, Westlife singer, was in the academy around that time as well. He was the Leeds goalkeeper of the FAU Cup winning side. So little known fact. But not little known fact to Leeds fans, little known fact to everybody else who's not a Leeds fan, who's a Westlife fan. But there was plenty of Irish, none now, but there was plenty of kids back then.
Now,
so it's difficult now with the rules around Europe and Brexit, and that you can't sign players from Ireland until they're 18 years of age now. So they're all going to like Germany and France and Italy and Germany.
Italy too.
Belgium. Yeah. So
like Janet,
McNulty,
Kerrigan.
Yeah, McNulty as well, Garcia. We've got Patrick, what's his name, down in Spain? Patrick. Someone will correct me in the chat. You let me know in the comments. I can't remember what his name is, but Patrick, what's his face? Plays for Hetafe. I think he plays for Hetafe. No, gone. Doesn't matter. There's
ring a
plenty of
bell.
them around.
Yeah.
There's loads. There's a few in Italy as well. Actually, there's a few that have come back to Ireland from Italy over the last couple of years. So yeah, it's an interesting one. But a really busy day, Andrea. There was the normal. This is going to be, by the way, I did say we'd do the kind of season review. Paul's not going to be here tonight because he got stuck at work. So we will do some form of a season review. There are polls that are up in the post section of the YouTube channel for goal of the season, player of the year, moment of the season, signing of the season. So if you want to vote on them, you can. Now, to clarify this, because somebody's already asked me, these are not my choices. These were based off the nominees that were put in by people, and the most amount of nominees creates the short list, and then you vote for them. So this isn't my choice; these are your choices. So just to be really, really clear on that. So if you want to get involved in voting, that you can. We'll cover it next week when we do our end of season awards. Nominated by you, voted on by you. So your decision to decide the channel's player of the years. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff's gone on today. We've had an interview with Paraag Marathe with the press, which is a really insightful interview and very interesting detail. We've had the news about Ethan Ampadu's contract. We've had a beautiful yellow shirt launched. It's been an interesting day. We also got confirmation from the Athletic this morning that Ilan Melier has left the club. So that's done and dusted and has been confirmed and on the record. I'm sure the club will put out some form of a statement at some point. But starting off, let's just start with the yellow shirt. Let's start in chronological order of everything dropping this morning. Brand new yellow
Yeah.
shirt. Your thoughts on the kit and the
It's
video, by the
brilliant.
way, which I thought was outstanding.
Yeah, the video was outstanding. That was what makes Leeds. Eventually, because I like when you get legends involved, like Lucas Wadeby, and even Gary McAllister. I think that my favorite bit in that
New
video is the
jersey.
spin off the shirt. Brendan, do you like the New Jersey? I'm not in New Jersey. I'm the Yorkshire Dales. That was brilliant, honestly. That's pure comedy, and even
It was
the
excellent.
the details in the video, the cone
Oh,
with
there's so
Ampadu,
many. The
the stack,
binoculars.
the binoculars, yeah, stack Ayop, yeah,
I hope.
Stuck is so good off
Yeah.
the pitch, even on the pitch, of course, not just off the pitch. I watch his YouTube, and I don't know if you watched the last video of him playing against a Leeds fan, some
Yeah.
games, or even when he went to Manchester, to interview people and show him pictures of his teammates. He's so good. But yeah, I think there's a lot. Having managed socials, for a football club, I know that when media and marketing meet, it's a perfect marriage. If you nail the right spots, because eventually, look at the video, Yorkshire, you get identity, brand, of course, the yellow, the old
Yeah.
logo, retro is really now is really growing also as a fashion brand on its own in football. You see, there's a lot of brands like I can mention Art of Football, for example, that Leeds have partnered with. There's the kit on their store. That they I have the shirt, the white shirt, where they have placed all retro kits. Very mini ones. And there's also plenty, in that collection. So it's good because it's also a fashion brand in a certain sense. Of course, not the main purpose of that, but for people that are collecting it or people that really like football shirts, I think it's a brilliant shirt. It's identitary. It shows a lot of identity with the rose, and the fact that they've placed Calvert-Lewin, Ampadu, Stack. These are the players the fans really relate to. So again, you get instant feeling, and you see them in a different environment away from the football pitch. And Radaby, he was a leader on the pitch.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, if he didn't get injured, probably could have been up there, with the best in that era. The Maldinis, the Nesta,
Yeah.
the Hierro of that world. And it's good because there's a lot of planning. Even the other references when they are walking, in the mug, basically in the water, with the shoes on.
Shoes over their
That's
head,
another
not
reference.
directly. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's lovely.
another reference. So it's brilliant,
Yeah.
brilliant storytelling, honestly. And it's a good head start, because the shirt will sell massively. And again, like we said, it's another thing that will prove Angus Kinnear wrong, that yellow shirts
Yep.
don't sell, because eventually when we got the yellow shirt the last time, it was great. The blue one again
Records.
was great. The records, and look, we have finally got our rightful place inside the galaxy of Adidas. So, and rightly
Yeah,
so.
we've moved.
Sky's the
We've
limit.
moved. Yeah, we've moved up from the B tier to what they call local A. So we're not quite an A plus or the elite bracket right yet, just yet, but we're just below that with the local. So we're in the Aston Villa, Newcastle with that. So it means you get the trefoil, it means you get the long sleeves, it means you get an increased range, and you should be getting authentic kits as well. They're not available at the moment on the website, but they should be coming at some point as well. So you'll get the
Yeah.
authentic kits. So I think you should get the authentic kits all the time. I don't know why all of a sudden you're not allowed to have the authentic kits, but anyway, look, that's how football works now. But yeah, it is, and it's going to be a huge revenue driver, especially in an SCR world that Leeds can sell this. I've seen reports of numbers already being absolutely crazy that they've sold possibly 100,000 already shirts already. So yeah, look, it's excellent from that perspective. I don't think the home shirt's going to sell as well, but as long as the away shirt does, that'll be fine. And some of the ranges, the goalkeeper kits look fantastic as well. And then you're going to have that white tracksuit top that Lucas Radebe and Ampadu are wearing when
Yeah.
that comes out. Hotcakes.
That's, yeah. Take your wallet out,
Yep.
and
There's a couple.
that's exactly what will happen,
Yeah. Well, then let's talk about Ampadu as I just mentioned him there. Also loved the comment about the cone. Like, no, that's absolutely normal. Yeah, that's grand. I do like I get him. I did say today on the live stream what we did around the breaking news. I can be overly harsh on Ampadu at times. Like I can be more critical of him than I am of other players. And I think the reason I always do that is because I rate him and I rate him really, really highly. So for me, his level is here, not here. So when he drops below that even a little bit, that's not good enough. You've got to maintain that. And I used to say to kids when I coached them and players when I coached them, the day I stop complaining about you is the day you should be worried. So if I'm talking about you, it means I see something in you. If I stop talking about you, I don't care anymore. So for Ampadu, I think for me, he's had a phenomenal season. He has been such an integral part of this Leeds team for 3 years now since he's come in. He cost us 7 million quid, which is bonkers to say out loud. The value that we've gotten out of him, we had Spurs and Villa sniffing around him. And then we got the news today from Paraag Marathe. He got to break the news himself. He was very happy about that he has signed a new deal, the club, no 4-year deal, the club to run until 2030. So this time 2030, which is great. It ties him down, brings him to, I think he's 27, 28, or 26, 27 now. So bring him to his 30s. So an interesting time in his career at that point. To see how he gets on.
25, yeah, 29, 30, yeah.
29, 30.
Yeah.
So yeah, be interesting point. And they'll probably extend it if it's going well before then anyway. But a really, really important one to get locked down early on. We'll get to Marathe's comments in a minute. But just from an Ampadu perspective, Andrea, what were your thoughts on that today?
A statement for me. A statement. That's the first step we need to take in order to show stability, show structure, show that we want to continue to structure the club and take the next step. And the first step is if your captain is running out of contract in next summer, the first thing you should do is tie him down with a long contract, keep him at the club, and that's exactly what they did. That's exactly what they did, and it's also, I think, it can be a catalyst in order to show that Leeds are looking to strengthen around their core players and just improve the squad with sensible signings. And that can help with those sensible signings because, like you said, Spurs, Villa was sniffing around. I think easily looking at how he played last season, he could have been a good player for a club playing maybe Europa League, maybe in the conference. These sides, of course, for example, Brighton that were playing the conference have completely style of football. So maybe not specifically Brighton, but maybe clubs playing in the Europa League could have been a good player for them. Looking at how he plays in the number 6 position, but intervening and keeping out the club for 4 more years was the first step that was needed from the owners. And now we'll see what will happen with the other players that run out of contract next summer, because there's probably other talking points there. Maybe someone like Stroud that we wish it were renew, but might be sacrificed for the financial reasons. There's Aronson, Matcher too, Gruev, plenty of players basically. But yeah, I think Ampadu has the potential, like you said. Maybe he will see his contract out till he's 29 and 30 if he doesn't leave earlier. But I think he will run out his contract, honestly. If Leeds keep growing, of course. If Leeds don't grow vertically, maybe he might leave in the future. But if he stays at Leeds till he's 30, he will have played maybe 7-8 seasons with Leeds. There's a potential to be a modern legend for the club, because eventually, Imagine we keep growing, structure the club. We do what Aston Villa, Brighton, Brentford did, basically, and Bournemouth too, apart from the season when they got relegated and won straight back up. Uh, if Leeds keep playing in the Premier League in the next 4 years, for example, there's potential to be a modern legend, because eventually when we look at Stuart Dallas, Click, all the Bielsa players, Cooper, Ayling, all these players, we are emotionally attached to them because of what they did in the Championship for us and these 2 first seasons under Bielsa. But eventually, if you look at them, some of them have played 3 seasons in the Premier League.
Yeah.
If Leeds build and stay in the Premier League for the next 4 years, you see Ampadu gave us a promotion, as captain, and then maybe 4-5 seasons in the Premier League. And if he renews, who knows, 6-7 seasons, 8 seasons probably. So I think there's potential for him to be really carved into the halls of the Leeds great in the modern era, at least.
Yeah, and that comment you made about as long as Leeds keep developing vertically, I think it's a really important comment, because Daniel Farke has spoken an awful lot about ambition in the last couple of weeks and months. But you got to look at the younger players, and you look at the young players that Leeds have lost over the last 15, 20 years, and it's always been a case of, well, the ambition of the club hasn't matched the ambition of the players, and it's really important that the club not only matches Daniel Farke's ambition, but actually matches the ambition of the players they have now, will bring in, and the young players they've got coming through as well, and keep progressing with them. Because if the club continues to move forward, these players won't leave. I mean, John McGinn at Aston Villa is a prime example of that. Like,
Yeah.
why would he leave? Why would
Yeah.
he leave? Ergard Strachan talked about him today as well, and he said,
Yeah.
Marcelo Bielsa said about John McGinn, give me 11 John McGinns and I'll win a title. So, but you've got to keep those players at your squad. And for me, Ethan Ampadu is that for Leeds. He is the fulcrum in that middle of the park for Leeds. He is the keystone of this entire squad. And I still don't think we've seen the best of Ethan Ampadu. I still think his ceiling is higher than it currently is right now, and I expect him to go on and be better and better next season. But it was an interesting comment from Paraag Marathe about Ethan Ampadu today, because he said it's a statement to the market, which I thought was a shot across the bow for all the sides that are obviously been sniffing around Leeds, to basically say, we're not giving away our best players. We're hanging on to our best players. This is not the Leeds of old. We're going one direction here. And these players are important to that. I think you're starting to see that. He also talked about the Farkas stuff as well. And he said, my ambition matches Daniel's ambition. I'm on the train. He's on the train. We're all going right. So, and Paraag Marathe, when he does talk, always talks very well. Not everybody likes hearing what Paraag Marathe has to say. But if you go back to his first interview and you track him all the way to where we are now, so far he's delivered on most of what he said. Obviously, no one's going to deliver on everything. But it does appear the club is trying to match the ambition of not just the manager, but the players as well. Now, as someone said to me in the comments today, ambition is just a word, and it is just a word unless you do something about it. So we'll judge that at the end of the summer. But for right now, it does look like the club are trying to match their ambition.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a follow-up to what Farke said, after staying up in his press conference. I'm an ambitious person, and it's good to hear that Paraag is another ambitious person, And I think, because if you read and listen to what he said today, you really get excited, the fact that he said, we want to take the next step, we want to bring in extra quality. But I think because he said it with his voice, face to face, it sounds in a certain way, but I think it's also a follow-up to his statement after we stayed up, but it sounds pretty, when you actually listen to it. But I think it's not something that is on the contrary, completely the opposite of what he said, because after the statement where he basically said, talking about the squad cost ratio, the fact that we need to spend wisely, being conservative. Being conservative is not a negative for me. It's spending wisely, not spending, basically. It's spending wisely. Eventually, I've always been a critic of the fact that we have a short squad, because I think that the money, if there's money there, you don't have to spend all the money on 2, 3, 4 players, but you can distribute the money and bring in players that you can develop through the years, even younger ones from the lower leagues, like the Championship, or if there's a very good young player in League One, you can sign that player. He won't want to start the games. He will be there, and you can develop him. That's what other clubs do. Because right now, I have to be honest, I don't think there's many young players that might break through, from the academy, from what I've seen and the loans that I've seen, in last season. But the fact that Paraag said basically this is what we will do. I like the honesty, honestly. I like the honesty because at least you are already explaining the whole situation, clarifying what to expect to the fans, because we talked about this, in the past. Leeds fan will always talk, we always think very highly about Leeds, because the elder ones have seen it in the 70s. I've seen Wilkinson team, O'Leary's. So they've grown up with a certain level of expectations at Leeds, despite the 80s in the middle,
Yeah.
and all that happened during those
In the late
those era.
noughties as well.
Yeah, in the late 90s as well, with all the madness, and that eventually cost us, in the new
Blew up.
millennium
Yeah.
with these 16 years. But I like the honesty because people, of course, will expect, okay, now we're safe. We have to aim for Europe next season. No, step by step. If we get Europe next season, it will be because we are already safe. We are safe. Okay, maybe there's 7, 8 games to go. Okay, let's have a push and try to get into Europe. But that's a plus. That's a bonus. Our goal next season is improve this season finishing 100%, and maybe have another run on the cup. Who knows? But of course,
Why not?
I've always been a critic. Like, we need more players in the squad because I don't want to rely again on James Justin covering holes, in the team, covering
Yeah.
gaps when there's filling holes, basically when there's injuries. Because especially, we have asked a lot from certain players this season, from DCL, from a matchup, players that had injuries ravaged season in the past. Who knows what will happen next season? It's not a guarantee that they will be again fit like they were this season. It's not a guarantee. So you need to have assurances. You need to strengthen and see that the signs that were there this season when we had been forced to play certain players moving like chess pawns, through our formation. That doesn't need to happen next season. So again, spending wisely, spending to give the manager the right tools to play the best formation that we have used this season. So I mean, in the 3-5-2, 3-4-3, for that. But again, the honesty, at least the fans know what to expect. So we need to be patient because we know the forward situation is not. It's not something that happens very often. Honestly, it's not an habitude. It's not a costume. To see an ownership coming out and saying, okay, we will invest, we want to improve, but we also will do it because we have this thing to look at, the squad cost ratio. That's a thing. And these things eventually are all, have been inherited, some of them at least, from all that happened in the past still, all that happened in the past. So we want to repeat the mistakes of the past. I think I'm most sure he said that, because he was there, he saw that. So he knows that we cannot afford to sign 2 players like we did the first season after we still have Andrea and Adam Forshaw tweet from Radizzani, and relied again on
2 international number 9s with Rodrigo and Bamford. They both got dropped and injured.
Yeah, but because they relied too much on Click to improve, but they were already at their top. They cannot go even more. They peaked. So yeah, eventually some of them probably stayed even more than it should have been, for them. But yeah, endless gratitude to them for what they did for the club after 16 years. Yeah,
100%. And there's an interesting segue from that as well, because he did make that point. Like, he was asked about that squad and he said, look, ideally we want every player to stay because not only are we invested in these people as footballers, we're also invested in them as people. And we like these people and they're good around the place. But that's not how football works anymore. And if Leeds want to progress as a club, then we have to bring in players to raise the floor. And we've talked a lot about that over the last couple of weeks about that's the goal of this summer, is to raise the floor, to elevate the ceiling. Then on the other side of that, and when Adam Pope asked him, what does next season look like? Or we're sitting here next year talking about what do you want to see? And he said, tomorrow to be better than today, and today is better than yesterday. So far, today has been better than yesterday. And fingers crossed, tomorrow will be better than today. And I love that line because it is about measured, patient building forward. And he did say that doesn't mean necessarily we'll have more points. It doesn't mean necessarily we're in a higher league position, but it means that the club as a whole is in a healthier position. And we've got, look, building a stadium in the middle of a season or going through a full season isn't an easy thing to do, especially over 2 seasons. And it is going to have an impact somewhere. So you've got to navigate that for a little bit. And I also thought it was interesting when he got onto SCR and he said, look, we do know that under PSR, we would have been better off this summer and next summer. But in the longer term, SCR will work for us once we know our ceiling will be quite high under the new stadium and we've got to get that done. But it won't stop us from doing what we have to do this summer, which that was an important line for me to hear because I looked at it and went, that SCR could be squeaky tight, like 85% of your revenue. And people are saying ambition means spending as much money as you can. It doesn't anymore in this world. Ambition means spending as much as you can within that 85% and not going over it and improving your squad at the same time. So that means you've got to nail the sales. And he has indicated players will go, and they could be players that we might be connected to or feel that should be playing more. But again, I thought the line around, we want to bring in players that force their way into a side and force you to play them, to give them minutes, which means players that have had less minutes this season will have even less minutes as a result of that. So you can't keep them players around the place. So all in all, I thought the general message was keep pushing forward, keep raising the floor, and keep improving the squad when we can.
Yeah, exactly. That's what needs to happen. And unfortunately, we cannot afford to be sentimental.
No.
We will be absolutely happy. We will be absolutely happy for what they did. Certain players that were a part of a promotion team. There were other players that, when called upon this season, they answered. Like Gruev when it was entrusted towards the end of the year, 2025. I remember that game against West Ham. But there's like in athletics, when you carry the torch and then you pass the torch to another one.
Yeah.
I think it's a part of a process, eventually, because if you want to raise the stakes, eventually to raise the level, certain players can take you up to a level, then you have to pass the torch to another player. That's natural. It's like natural selection in Charles Darwin studies. When he went to the Galapagos Islands, that's what happens. Even in football, in a football squad. So yeah, honestly, I'm looking at Nyonton, looking at Grubev. I know I've read also the articles, also the other piece around that was written by Baron Cross in the Athletic, suggesting that Leeds were pretty happy with the current state of the midfield. Yes, but for me, honestly, especially look at Gruev. He got injured, but
I'd like more
think we
goals
need
in
an
it.
upgrade. Yeah, I like more goals in it, and I like a backup number 6.
Yeah.
And I like another number 8 that can also be an attacking midfielder, probably a more offensive one, because all the ones that we have, of course, Stack adapting brilliantly to the role, he's grown a lot. Credit to Farke for that, because when he arrived, basically, it was towards
The CDM.
not before. It was a CDM. Offenheim. When he was at Offenheim, he was a playmaker, but not the playmaker like Ampadu. Completely different in the role. Yeah, more deeper, more like conservative. Not the typical playmaker like Ampadu in terms of more like Pirlo, that type of player. I think Farke saw similarities with other German players like Goretzka or Alexander Pavlovich of Bayern Munich. That he said, there's potential here. I'm trying to turn him into that type of player. Of course, he's still in a growing process, but I think he did really well in the role. The thing is, even Longstaff is not a starter right now. I think when he signed, he wanted to start probably because I'm coming from Newcastle. We just qualified for the Champions League. I wasn't a starter there anymore, but I used to be in the past. So probably thought, I'm going to Leeds because I'm going to play week in, week out. That didn't happen. So I think another thing that can happen. Probably he has of course he's here next season.
Yeah.
So I think he will try to push, get Fick back again, because it took a long time to get Fick back again after his injury. So, but again, looking at the 8s, Longstaff, Stack, Tanaka, I think another one is needed there for me. A more offensive one, because they are all very similar. The only different one is Tanaka. But the improvement of the squad are crucial. Even in the wingers, another number 9, the backup for Gudmundsson, the centre backs, we'll see, especially the centre back, because we just had Bornau as the backup for all of them, basically. And the goalkeepers, who knows what will happen with the goalkeepers,
Yeah, we don't know about that yet. We'll have to wait and see. I think said it in the news. It'll depend on what the goalkeepers themselves want to do. I think if Darlow and Perry are happy to stay in the current status quo, I think they'll both stay in the current status quo. I think if one of them decides, actually, I'm gonna head off now, then Leeds will need a reshake of that goalkeeping department one way or the other. So fingers crossed. The less they impact this team, the better. I mean, it's great to see Gareth Darlow in the promos for the kit as well. Yeah, although they
Yeah.
were done in December, still gives you hope that he'll be here. He deserves an extension to his contract. I think for Darlow it makes sense. Like it's a case of he's went into his 30s. I could be a number one somewhere still. I still have this in me. I could still be a number one. And maybe he wants to go off and be a number one, unless he can get assurances from Leeds United that he will start the season as a number one. I remember talking to Adam Pope about this as well, and Adam said he was shocked and surprised that Darlow didn't start the season as number one, given the way he'd finished the previous season, felt that he deserved it. I think you're in a similar situation with him now coming into the summer of going, probably deserves it. And I'm not big on giving people things because they deserve it. I'm a bigger fan of earn it. And, but I think he has earned it for now. And it will be a case of what have you done for me lately when it comes to the start of next season, see how he gets on. But for me, it's a position that doesn't need a huge amount of work if you can keep what you've got. And again, hoping Lucas Perry turns out to be the goalkeeper he was when he was playing for Leon and Botafogo, and not what we got at the start of last season. Not that he was that bad. I didn't think he was that bad, but you wanted better.
Yeah, I think every one of us expected better from Perry, but his season turned to be like a Melia one, because Melia eventually, when he started at a high ceiling, of course, different age. Perry is more experienced.
He went
than him.
like that though. Yeah.
Yeah, he skyrocketed eventually down the charts, because that's the same feeling I had when Melia was playing in the last two seasons. Like there's a mistake in him. I remember a Villa free kick, Forest away, Man United at home, Newcastle away. There's plenty. So he's
See,
not.
I would never
Even
have
at
called.
Birmingham, it was shaky at the start.
Yeah, I don't think I would have looked at him and said he made mistakes. But for me, it was he should have done better. Like there was shots that he let in that you're like, you need to do better than that.
It's scanning and reading, yeah.
Yeah, or maybe reacting a little bit too late to a shot and not getting down quick enough for it. You should be able to save that. I think for me that was always a case of going, that stuff you can work on. Systemic mistakes in a goalkeeper can destroy their confidence. That's harder. I mean, we saw that with Melgate. Once you start making major errors that lead to goals. Although Carl Darlow's got much bigger shoulders than most people. He had two pretty big blunders last season with Sheffield Wednesday and Arsenal. He got over them, both of them, no problem at all for him. So
yeah.
Sorry, I cut you off.
No, don't worry. I don't even remember what I was saying now. So
you were listening. You were listening to games with Perry that was playing in that you were looking at.
Okay, right. It's been an exciting but long day, so that's why. But yeah, I think eventually Darlow, I will be open to extending his contract. But if they extend his contract, that's a guarantee for me in there that I'm extending, but I'm gonna be the number one, because I show you that I can be the number one. And of course, he's over his 30s now. In of course, goalkeepers have longer longevity compared to other players.
Peak now,
2028 Euros in the UK and Ireland too. So of course, he will want to play there with Wales. Because of course Danny Ward has been injured with Wrexham. They've been looking for a consistent goalkeeper for years, at Wales, because after Ennis he was basically at the end of his career. They went from Danny Ward, Adam Davies, plenty of goalkeepers. Then they found Darlow, because he had refused, to join them years before, and then accepted finally when he wasn't playing for Leeds. He wanted to play, so I think also the fact that he accepted and started playing for Wales helped him when he eventually was called upon by FAC, in last 2 years ago now. But yeah, I won't be so sure on Perry though, because if Darlow stays, and he deserves to stay, he'll be the number one. I don't think he'll accept to stay to be a number two, because I think he'll have offers also from top championship sides. I don't think not the Premier League side, but top championship side maybe. The only one that I can see, because I think they have Dovin, the Swedish one, Coventry, maybe. But yeah, it's surely a more experienced goalkeeper, so they might look at him. But
Yeah.
I'm looking at more
No,
in the championship, more in the
no,
championship for
no
the top
guarantee
side.
that Coventry get Rushworth again next season. He was only on loan from
Yeah,
Brighton, so that's not a guarantee either. So maybe they do, maybe
yeah,
they don't.
yeah, exactly. But Perry, he has a long contract, so if Dallas stays, bring in a goalkeeper, then you can build with that you can wait
Yeah,
for, yeah, as an alternative playing in the cup, and Perry loan him out to raise his
yeah,
value again. Then we'll see. Maybe he has a top season, then you have him again the season after,
yeah,
and okay, yeah, he can really have a chance. If he
yeah.
doesn't have a good season, of course, then you you have to sell him at that point, and that's the
Yeah.
thing.
Well, we may as well keep going then because we're very much into a season review now. We're talking about how seasons have gone for certain players. That's the goalkeeping department done. In terms of the defense we brought in, we saw pretty much a whole new shape to the defense this season. We started off with a four. We saw what happened with a four, and we opted for a three. And we talked about this in preseason when Yakabi all joined Leeds, and we said better than a three. Plays the best football in a
Yeah,
three, and we saw him in a two, and it wasn't good. And again, we talked about it, said, but that's not his natural position. It's usually in a three. And then eventually, after a half time in Manchester City, we saw him come on the pitch, and he went in at that three. From that moment on, for me, I don't know a number nine that he went up against this season that got anything off of him. I think he pocketed some of the best strikers in the Premier League this season, or at least kept them to very, very little outside of pushing Joe Pedro over against Chelsea. That was the only one. And that was a moment of absolute madness. But you look at Haaland, Thiago, nothing. Ekatike, Isaac,
Sheshko,
nothing.
yeah.
Yeah. Go through the list, that app, nothing. These players got absolutely nothing off of him. And hell of a signing once he got settled in. I think Sebastian Borneo, I think I've described him also a season as being a very serviceable centre half. Like he's come in when he was needed to, and he's never really put a foot wrong. I think he's looked very calming at times, specifically against Tottenham Hotspur towards the end of the season. And I think he looked really well, really good. And then you bring in your third new signing, who ended up playing centre half quite a lot, and that was James Justin. Like that back line, and Gabby Goodmunson then as well, who I thought was just phenomenal this season. I love Gabby. And you look at that backline, you go from a department perspective, who got a lot of stick. They got that backline pretty much nailed on in terms of the quality players that they brought in, and then adding to what Stroke and Rodon bring to the team.
Yeah, they made the signings, I think, the recruitment team, for the back four, because
Mm.
eventually, you look at back four, Strauk, Rodon, backup, Biol, Bornau. So you have two backups. The problem is when you play a back three, you just have one backup. And that's the thing,
Yeah,
But the signings were good. I have never questioned the quality of the signings. Uh, the thing for me has always been, okay, now we have switched, especially in the winter, we have strengthened a lot in midfield and the defense. The problem for me was always, with the depth in certain positions, like especially as the left back, Gudmundsson, you had just Byram. Then
mm,
I would have liked another striker because I always said Pirlo for me he wasn't cut for the Premier League, and we started the season with Nyonto and James. I remember at
the hero.
Arsenal.
Arsenal
Uh, yeah, at Arsenal.
came a long
So
way.
yeah, we came a long way eventually because when he switched the system, Aronson, we could have thought eventually Aronson improved. He
Yeah,
still had a little bit of a fall, I think, in form compared to the levels he reached towards the end of the year, especially at
yeah,
Newcastle. So consistency again, I need to work. His consistency. Hopefully, he has a good World Cup. But yeah, the defending signings, were good. It was just a system that they were made for. They were done for. Wasn't the right one. So once we changed, eventually Pure was played to his strengths. He even improved a lot because in different intensity. He wasn't used to the intensity of having to battle constantly with the number 9, and also having wingers, coming left and right
yeah,
in a back three, because in Italy, it's not like that. There's a lot of space, a lot of tempo, a lot of different timing, basically, when you're allowed to tempo your decision making better, because you have more time to do that. In the Premier
yeah,
League, you don't have to. And after that game at Sheffield Wednesday, after we saw how he looked in the back four, in the back three was monumental, very
mm,
secure, very reliable. Also, Strauk and Rodon, I think they've grown. Strauk more physical, also in terms of physical build muscle. Rodon improved a lot for me. Improved a lot, absolutely. There were doubts, because of his past in the Premier League with Spurs.
yeah,
Didn't work out for him. turned out that he can be a Premier League player, and also I think that he can also improve more. Again, it can be a leader. It can be there's vice captain material
Yeah,
in Joe
great.
Rodon for me. Absolutely. Bogo, I think he had a good season. He had games where he really make his presence felt, made his presence felt, being felt by the opponents. Other games where we didn't see him much because he was forced to be more conservative. It wasn't necessarily down to him being bad. He needed to be more conservative, more defensive minded, more balanced, compared to Gudmundsson on the other side, who once he clicked into the position, in the system, absolutely a force. It doesn't translate. There's an argument when I say don't always look at the numbers, because if you
Yeah.
look at the numbers, Gudmundsson had 1 goal and 1 assist all season,
Yep.
but it was one of our best performers. So yeah, the only thing that we need now, especially with Justin too, with the new Dallas, always reliable. Another player that improved a lot because he wasn't used to playing as a wing back
Yeah.
when he was at Leicester, very rarely, and also has an adapted centre back, because going up against faster players, stronger players, but he adapted. The
Did.
thing is, I'm okay now with the players on the right. I would like to see, because Bornau, he was basically the new Gilavogi. He was recommended by Gilavogi. He was like him, when he played, it was okay, decent.
Yeah.
I think he will stay. If he stays, and he doesn't want to play more and leave and play more, it's in the balance. Probably it's
Yeah.
down to him.
Yeah.
I would like a left wing back, of course. I mean, now
Yeah.
backup for Gudmundsson, and we'll see what happens with Strauk, of course. If Strauk goes, you need to sign a top left center back.
You do.
But in any scenario, a backup center back, because we need to have two at least, not just Bornau and just adapting when called upon.
Be interesting to see what happens with Stroke's contract, because if again they made it pretty clear in Baron Cross's piece yesterday, Gruev, Aronson, Meche, and Stroke, unless there's a new deal on the table this summer, they're being sold. That's the way it'll be. So they'll either extend their contracts, and they can depend on the player or the club. If the club look at a couple of players and go, not going to extend your contract, then they'll go this season. And the players themselves say they want to extend, then they'll go this summer as well. So it'll be interesting. There will be a summer of contracts as well. We've already started it with Ampadu. Let's see where it goes with the rest of them. And we talked about the midfielders already, the difference makers on the other end of the pitch. So we briefly touched on DCL and Mecha as well. But Noah Okafor came in very late in the window. We saw him against AC Milan. It's a bit of hat to my agent friend who gave me a little nod to say that Okafor was signing for us before he signed for us. But we saw him in Dublin. And there was question marks about Okafor coming in, about his fitness, about his output, and was he still the same player he was when he was at Red Bull. It took him a little bit of time to get moving, but there was glimpses early in the season of a really, really decent player, or at least a player that could add something extra to Leeds. And the more the season went on, the more important he became to that side. And I think if you look, Paul's always called this out. That spell where Leeds couldn't score after Christmas was no Okafor in that team. He was out injured at that moment in time. Then he comes back in, Leeds starts scoring goals, and then he goes back out again, Leeds stops scoring goals. So he definitely did contribute in the other end. Second highest GNA along with Brendan Aronson, right behind Dominic Calvert-Lewin. And then you look at DCL, the big question coming into the start of the season was, can Leeds United keep him fit? And if they can keep him fit, it's a really good signing. We didn't know what to expect from Lucas Mecha. I put him in the serviceable bracket along with Bornau when was needed, did a job, very good off the bench. For me, a pure finisher, an absolute pure finisher. I think he's excellent in the 6-yard area. Not quite the hold-up player that DCL is, but a different type of striker. Similar mold, but slightly different. And then the right-hand side didn't really change that with Brendan, who I thought had a very interesting. But Brendan, he seemed to have his best part of the season when the weather was crap and the pitches were in bad nick. All of a sudden, Aronson was brilliant. Both sides of that when the weather got well. Maybe it is a New Jersey thing. Yeah, it didn't get
used to the Midlands. He's used to the Midlands, basically.
He's used to stop the pitches in wet rain, and he was excellent. Then when the weather got good, not that he was bad. He dropped off a little bit, but again, probably one of his best seasons. But from that front group of players, it's definitely the area where Leeds need to add quality this year. I don't think there's any doubt about that we need to add more GNA in there. We need to get more difference makers in there. But for a first season up, given what was spent on that front line, not a bad season from those players either, and a very big season for DCL and Okafor.
Yeah, absolutely. We spent 0 for DCL and Mecha. So we could have thought, we were really taking a risk. It paid off. It's not assured that it will pay off next season too, because you don't know if these players will keep.
There's always that question between, did you get away with it? or did it pay off? Which one is it?
I think we got away with it, to be fair, but I'm glad we did because I like
Yeah,
these two players.
yeah,
This year went to a European Championship with England. I'm sure the English always remember that very, very vividly. And that, yeah, no, because I remember that there was the discussion about would you take to the Euros 2021 between Bamford and
yeah.
DCL. At the time I said no, take Bamford. He had a brilliant season, but even DCL at
Got
the
his
end, if you
cap.
look at that season, yeah,
Mm,
he got his cap after, but DCL, eventually he uh, he was taken to the Euros instead of Bamford, and England went till the final and lost it to
mm.
the last remnants of the Italian kingdom, basically, when we were still kings,
Not
when we
much
were still
left.
kings. Not much left now. It's only in ruins.
Gravel, gravel.
Yeah, it's only in gravel. Yeah, but yeah, I think DCL absolutely turned into a leader.
Mm,
See him in the video too. Very good, calm and collected person too off the pitch. Very good influence in the team. Mecha, another good player, physical. I will probably only hold up nine that we are because there's a difference between the target aerial duels player that DCL is and the older player that Mecha is. I think Mecha is more suited to older play compared to DCL. DCL does it too, but
mm.
the only real one is in Mecha. And it's really odd that we see him when Okafor was injured too, playing
Yeah,
as a left
left.
winger,
Should
because
have been
he's
Nanto.
not clearly.
Should have
Yeah,
been Nanto for
and
me every time.
yeah, that tells you a lot, though. That tells you a lot
Yeah, it
if
does.
match is playing ahead on Yonto, especially heading towards the summer. But yeah, it's no mystery that we try to sign Strand Larsen, so I think we'll try to sign another top nine that will battle with DCL for the top spot. Can also be played together, maybe in a 3-5-2,
Yeah,
with two traditional
love to see
nines.
it.
I would love to see that, but I think we need to keep, especially if one between Yont or James or both, I
Yep,
don't know, go. We still need to sign wingers because we've seen
we
that
do.
also. We play certain games with a 3-5-2 and other games 3-4-3, with the playmaker on the right and second
Mm.
striker in the free role on the left. And I'm talking about no Okafor because, of course, the main switch for Okafor came with the expiration of the international break, the final one. When he returned, it was, if you look at Okafor in terms of fitness, body shape, at the start of the season when he arrived from AC Milan, the
Yeah,
sharpness, the grind, I think it's probably a term that used by
yeah,
motorsports, probably, but when he take his man on, completely different from the start of the season now, more direct, more sharp, really started to understand English football better as a second striker for me. When he goes central, he's dangerous. But now
yeah,
the difference is when he goes central, he shoots now. I remember at the start, go central, pass the ball. Why are you passing the ball? Shoot,
yeah. Hit
shoot.
it.
I
Yeah.
I I, I kept saying that. He didn't shoot at the start, but yeah, I think the needs there are, of course, Pirot. I don't think he'll stay
No,
because he's out of contract next summer. We won't offer him a new one.
no.
So you need to move him on and bring in that other top nine that can battle. Mecha is tough one because I imagine towards not offering him a new deal because again, he's playing a good part this season when called upon. But
Yeah.
there's always that risk, He's not one of your top performers. He's a rotation squad player.
I
So
think they let him run. I think they let that run because they got him for nothing. They might lose him for
exactly,
nothing. It's a break even.
exactly. But the thing is, we know how agents work, in the end. They will
Yeah.
try, okay, we stayed up. Now we show that he's reliable. Offer him a new deal, maybe 2 years. A 2 years deal, like uh, one more year,
Mm.
2028,
Well, if he
so
pushes to leave, you're going to get a fee for him, so you're making money on the deal at least. That way, the question is, do you get a player of the same quality for the amount of money you're
mm,
bringing in for him? That's the trade off. But
yeah,
Andrea, running out of time, so I want to ask you real quick. We'll do some quick fire stuff. We've asked everybody else on the posts
yeah.
for the channel to vote for these, so don't want to spend too long on these, but just quick fire enough. Who's your player of the year?
Ampadu, 100%. He's
Yeah,
absolutely a league of his own this season. He the glue that kept all the team together. In good and bad times for me. Absolutely, 100%. So he's
yeah,
been rewarded with
yes,
the captaincy and the contract renewal. Yeah,
yeah.
Ampadu.
Despite all my giving out about him pointing and rolling his studs on the ball, he's my player of the year as well. Special mentions: Gabby Goodmanson, Jacobi, Aljo Rodon. fantastic this season. Out Anton Stack, brilliant.
Stuck.
Jaden
Yeah.
Bogle, missed very little football. Darlow, all excellent. And I think you're talking about so many players in that bracket. It tells you how well your season's gone. There's a lot of players in and around that. Okay, that's that one. Goal of the season. Have you got a goal of the season?
Yeah, Stuck free kick at
The free
Villa.
kick
You
against
were
Villa
there too, so you'll see
was
it
there,
live.
yeah.
I remember you went to the game
I
there.
couldn't celebrate
Yeah,
it. I was sitting in the Villa and I'd sit
yeah,
in my
I
hands and go,
know.
"Oh no!"
No, it was great. It was great.
Yeah, it was a great goal.
What a strike! What a strike! Honestly, if I look at the level of the goal, there were probably better goals in terms of momentum. But look at the style of that, absolutely
Pure
rocket.
class.
And against
Yeah.
the world champion goalkeeper. So
Well, yeah, one of the best
I mean,
in the world at the
Martinez.
moment. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. And Captain Cold. I would have gone Dominic Calvert-Lewin against Sunderland. The every Leeds player touching the ball.
yeah,
You
that
mentioned
was
again
brilliant
today.
too. It was brilliant too.
Football I love to see. Flowing, fast-paced football, just quickly with the park, just one side to the other, and then up and then a tap into the back post. So just excellent stuff. Moment of the season. Do you have a moment that defined this season for you?
Well, can only be one for me. We know
Mm.
Trafford. Honestly, we waited so long for that. So
Yep.
two at the Stratford end by Owen Okafor. You were
Yeah.
worried there, Jer, that I was gonna continue the
Little.
chant. I had you there. So yeah,
Put tags on it. Yeah.
the brace by Okafor, was what a night. What a night, honestly. What a night.
Yeah. It was an important one for me, but halftime against Man City for me is the moment of the season
Yeah,
because
true.
somebody said it in the comments, and I'm sorry that I'm forgetting your name, but somebody said it started at Man City and was bookended at Manchester United. That was the two biggest parts of the season. I completely agree. But for me, the whole season can take a very different look if that doesn't happen, because I think Farke probably loses his job. Another manager comes in. You've got a disabled squad, just not a stable environment at all. And that could have either benefited the club or hindered the club, and that could have gone either way. So that was a massive decision for me that I think just turned the whole season, and the run of results afterwards kind of backed up. So me, that was that. Signing of the season.
I'm gonna say Stuck, honestly, because I think there's a player that might also have offers, in the summer.
Yeah.
Went back into Germany. The Germany squad, eventually missed out because the two players I mentioned before, Goretzka and Pavlovic ahead of him. Also, Felix Mecha too, in his position, the brother of Lucas.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Wouldn't
there's
mind him.
plenty. But I think there's a player that can also improve. Especially consider the fact that it was his first season. In this new role for him, and he did very well. He struggled at the start, but once he clicked into the role, it's been a good balance. I remember him in Everton away, Newcastle away, certain games where he was really key for the whole balance of the team, in that no man's land between the two players up front and the rest of the team, in certain games. So Stuck for me.
Okay. I meant Gabby. I'm being consistent. I think Gabby's just been phenomenal. And you're right about Gabby is right. If you look at the numbers, it would say no. But Gabby for me is always the pass before the pass. Gabby's the one that gives it to somebody else who gets the assist.
Assist.
And
Yeah.
He's involved in the move nearly every single time. And I love him. He's my kind of player. He's exciting. He's good 1v1 defending. There's very few people who've got past him. The odd one. I mean, he pocketed. Was Esteve? He pocketed against or was it the young lad? It was Esteve, wasn't it? No, it wasn't Esteve. It was what's his name at Chelsea? The young lad on the wing.
Estevao. Yeah.
Estevao.
Esteve is the centre back
half
of Burnley.
Yeah, I like him.
Yeah,
I liked him.
decent.
Estevao pocketed Estevao, but only lasted 45 minutes. I thought he was great for us this season. Most improved player.
Most
And
improved
that
player.
depends how you rationalize that, by the way. You could be a player who's improved from last year, or could be a player who's improved over the course of this season, or has improved versus what the expectation was. Whatever version of that you want to grab.
Well, many of them have improved. I think Tanaka has improved, Aronson has improved, both even Ampadu and Strout, and Bogle, because of course the step up, from the Championship to the Premier League is not a guarantee. But I'm gonna say John Rodon, honestly, because I think he's been reliable. I think he's been very good in the air. He doesn't get a lot of flowers, to be fair, especially in the Leeds fan base.
He's so consistent. That's why he just does his job.
Yeah, he does his job, but I think many take him for granted, but
100% agree. 100%.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing. I think, especially because of what I mentioned earlier, remember that went to Spurs from Swansea, then wasn't played, didn't get a proper chance, in the in the Premier League. So it was never like, no, he's not ready for that level. Went on loan to Rennes with Jet Spence.
Yeah.
Then both of them went to Leeds. Uh, Played 2 seasons. After the first season, he could have earlier, I think, been signed by Ipswich, the teams that got promoted,
Yeah.
Southampton, those sides. They decided, especially because there was the parallel deal for Archie Gray, of course,
Yeah.
decided to stay at Leeds, build his career back from the Championship. Now he's shown that it can be. I think there's no argument for him not to start next season, honestly.
No, I think he's
So
one of the first names on the team sheet.
credit for him. Yeah, and that's
Yeah.
credit for him, because I think many people had doubts about him because he failed the last time he was in Premier League, basically, when he made the move.
I think Joe Rodon is the player you notice when he's not playing. And that's the
Yeah,
problem. And that's taken
along
for
with
granted.
Ampadu. Yeah.
Yeah. I think when they're out of the team, you go, oh, okay, that's what he does. Because I think Joe Rodon just very silently goes about his job at a very, very high level, and nobody really talks about it that much. He doesn't have to do spectacular things. He does the safe things. He does the easy jobs very, very well. He's competitive. He's one of my favorite players in a Leeds United shirt. I think he's one of the first names on a team sheet every week. If I'm picking a team, there's no version of that Leeds side that doesn't have Joe Rodon in it for me, or Ampadu. I think he's a fantastic player. And his passion and his effort and his work rate. And again, what this means to him, that shirt means to him, not this shirt. This is a Penn State shirt, but you know what I mean. What the shirt actually
Yeah.
means to him. So yeah, for me,
Rolls
phenomenal.
Rodon.
Yeah,
Rolls
yeah,
Rodon.
Royce.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like
absolutely.
Rolls Royce, Gonna make a shirt about
Totally.
that.
Yeah, he is. He's Rolls Royce. I love him. I think he's great, and he's a footballer, and he can whip a ball in as well. We found that out this year. He's got a cracking cross on him. So yeah, long may that continue. I did give it to Brendan Aronson. Don't shoot me in the comments. Just your opinion's fine as well. Just don't go after me. I did give it to Brendan Aronson because I think the expectation of what he would do in the Premier League, I think he achieved more than that. I think he's had some really strong moments this season. If I look from start of season to end of season, and look at the players that I thought would be up around the GNA at the end of the season, I didn't think he'd be there, and he was. He's the second highest along with Okafor. So for me, I gave it to Aronson as most improved player. But anybody else, that's just my opinion. Your opinion is fine as well. So if you've got a different opinion, just let me know. And there's no issues with that as well. But again, you could pick Tunt. Darla was mentioned as player of the year and as most improved, again, based on expectations. So yeah. And if you look at Darla against Sheffield Wednesday and then Darla at the end of the season.
Yeah.
Different goalkeeper.
It's fine having an opinion. Sometimes people get carried away. It's not the House of Commons or the Dale in this case. So when they constantly have the back and forth, it's good to have different, because even the fact that you mentioned Aronson,
without it.
Yeah, and Aronson, I didn't think he was made for the Premier League, to be honest. But he eventually, Farke tailored the role for him, because at the start of the season, when he was playing as a right winger, I think only one game. Yeah, very good
I wanted
game.
to see him there, and then I saw him there a couple of times and went, maybe I was wrong. I don't want to see him there. Then he just tweaked him in a bit. Similar to what he did Dan James last year, just moved him in 5-6 yards inwards and went there. That's it.
Yeah.
Worked.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay,
absolutely.
Folks, let us know yours. The polls are available on the post section on the YouTube channel. You can get over there and you can vote. They are your nominations and your decisions to vote on them. We're just giving you our opinions. We're not having a vote on this. I'm not voting on this. This is yours. And then the winners, we will announce them next week, and they will be the Leeds View Players of the Year, Moments of the Year, and all that kind of stuff as well. If you want to support us, you can subscribe to the channel. You can like it for more content like this, as well as daily Leeds news. We've got any of the different links down below if you want to support us. That way, if you're buying the new Leeds shirt, you can buy from Fanatics. The official links are there. It's also available on our website at the Leeds View. Their links are automatically embedded there. You can check it out there. Or you can get involved with OK Jersey if you're looking for World Cup shirts, and Finalysis if you want to get involved in the discussion over there about Leeds United. Massive thanks to Andrea. You can find him over on the old Unfiltered podcast on Lockheed Leeds. And Andrea, thanks for joining me. I really appreciate you, mate.
Thanks, Joe. Always a pleasure.
See you, folks. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.